The position of the architect rose during the Roma as architectures symbolically became a particularly important political statement. Cicero classes the architect with the physician and the teacher, and Vitruvius spoke of so great a profession at this. Marcus Vitruvius Pollio, a practicing architect during the rule of Augustus, recognized that architecture required both practical and theoretical knowledge, and he listed this clip line. He felt the aspiring architect should master literature and writing, draftsmanship, mathematics, history, philosophy, music, medicine, law, and astronomy, a curriculum that still has much to recognize the man. All of this study was necessary, he argued, because architects who have aimed at acquiring manual skill without scholarship have never been able to reach a position of authority to correspond to their plane, while those who have relied only upon theories and scholarship will obviously hunting the shadow, not the substance. There's a saying that there are no cultural relativity at 30,000 feet. The laws of aerodynamics were regardless of political or social prejudice, and they are indisputable truth. Yes, you can discuss to what extent they are an approximation. Whether they limit or validity do they take into account such detail as quantum entanglement or unfit theory? But the most basic scientific concept that is clearly and disturbingly missing from today's social and political discourse in the concept that same question have correct and clear answer. Such question can be called scientific, and their answer represent truth. Scientific questions are not easy to ask. Their answers can be validated by experiment or observation, and they can be used to improve your life, create jobs and technologies, save the planet. You don't need posters or randomized trials to determine if a parachute works. You need an understanding of the fact of aerodynamics and the methodology to do experiments. When a community stopped hunting female with cattle, those herd would over time tolerate the closer presence of human by watching the wild cattle as our deep ancestor watched predator and learned about their lives. Their more recent ancestor could have begun to understand the life cycle of the white cattle and made a few risky but creative began to understand the life cycle of venture. They started bringing a few as younger star into a village, building pens and trying to keep them alive. And they succeed. They'd been watching the cattle across generations. They knew about their life cycles, shared that information with one another, and collaboratively came up with ideas about raising their own cattle, and thus prey domestication was born. Once cattle, sheep, pig, lamb, and goat were living with humans, it was a simple task to do. Like with dogs, a bit of behavioral and morphological shaping via direct manipulation, full wool, milk production, or repeat growth for meat. The selection of specific individuals to breed was an initial step toward modern domestic animals and hamburgers. The primary impetus of scientific and technique innovation has been our increased ability to reach out and exchange ideas with others, as well as to borrow their people's idea and blend them with our own to create something new. Combining real creativity is the acknowledgement that nothing is genuinely unique, at least not in the sense of being constructed entirely from scratch. The notion is met with considerable resistance in creativity space. To create is to start with a blank canvas. However, much data exists to support this economic system of influence and inspiration. Nia Pauli, an artist, shot and animated ancient releases from the Metropolitan Museum of Art to illustrate her point that all creation is derivative. Every work of art is derivative work. In animation, Oliver Larrick examined as we appropriation of imaging in his video essay version by looking at how Disney recycle animation. Creativity is the original, often source code. Freud long ago distinguished between the conscious and unconscious mind, but today's understanding of the unconscious mind is not Freud sitting on consciousness with its repressed impulse and instinct is called and bigger information processing system. Our memory, thinking, language, attitude, and perceptions all operate on these two tracks: a conscious, deliberate high road and an unconscious, automatic, low road. Our high road mind is reflective, our low road mind is intuitive. Consider driving. Your brain and hands know how to move into the right lane. But if you are like most drivers, you can consciously explain how you do it. Most drivers say they would turn right, then straighten out, but that would steer them off the road. Actually, after moving right, you reverse the steering while equally to the left of center, and only then return to the center position. But no worries, your low road guide has know how to do it.